Hello, welcome. Come on in. Say hi. If you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. Welcome. We explore the inside and the outside. And on Sunday nights, we have this show, Chatters Live, and it is a community show. It's in building that community. It's for, I would think, people who do spend a lot of time on their own and they build their lives specifically that way. Hello, Owen. Happy New Year, dear. Happy New Year. Right? And it's specifically who are living their own lives, creating their own lives, and they don't always bump into the kind of people that keep good company, right? Sometimes it's just coming and hanging out with me, and it's just a matter of having a nice moment, having a uneventful moment sometimes. Sometimes it can be entertaining. And like everybody, I do on occasion put my own foot in my mouth, but I would hope and I would be uh very appreciative, right? To get a little bit of heads up, in that. And lots of times being highly sensitive and in being empathic, it is in feeling it out, right? When we get those reactions from people from things that we do and things that we say. And we can tell the difference between something that is, right, stirred and meant to stir you up a little bit, and those things that actually take somebody by surprise. And you can see sometimes, we hurt people with our words or with our actions. And sometimes, right, it is intentional. But, for me, I would like to be able to have an opportunity to course correct because it is never in my intent. I don't know why I'm saying that, to make anybody feel bad. Or maybe it was because this is Sunday night and this is something that we have done, every single Sunday for years and years. Does anybody out there know how many years we have been doing this on Sundays? And it has been, right? It has been a blessing for me, I think, because of all the changes that I've, willingness applied myself into really understanding, you know, why things aren't the way that I would have liked them to have worked out. And we would all like things to work out a certain way, right? But I guess when we get mature and stuff, it doesn't seem so stressful that sometimes we get these moments of relaxation and to what we're doing that information comes across us. And I don't know. I was like a pit bull with a piece of raw meat in my mouth. But I suspect that most people who are kind of woken up to some of these ideas are like that. There is a feeling of urgency, right? In whatever I'm doing, but there wasn't any, right? Otherwise I would have woken up to these ideas long before I did. But there's a reason for that, right? Okay, you guys, happy new year. I just don't want to just keep going off. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's in that just few minutes of frazzle. I was coming into my live. Hello, and hello, Andrew. I was coming into my live and I was looking at the clock. I says, I got 10 minutes. Right? My bread is just on the first rise. I had to pound it down. I had to form it all and butter the pans up and everything. So you're going to have to forgive me if a half an hour down the video I have to go and preheat my oven, right? Right? And you well guys will be so jealous because I make the best bread, My mother was a great cook, and being able to bake your own bread was right really handy dandy if you came from a low income family, right? A big 20-pound bag of flour could get you by on bread for a couple of weeks anyway, right? And even if you go to the store these days, that you could see how expensive bread is getting. Even when it goes on sale, it's expensive. And I wasn't eating bread for years, in all honesty. But there are some foods that I think that, when I talk about stepping down from habits and things aren't good for you and stuff, I think the grains, for me, in any case, were the better of how many evils. I have no ideas, right? Whether it's the potato chips, or whether it's, the healthy food and something. My body likes the grains. My body moves well with the grains, and I just as easily recognize the foods that don't work well for me. Dairy doesn't work for me, and I love dairy. I love cheese. I love cream cheese. I love yogurt. I love ice cream. I love cream in my coffee. I even have to switch to the coffee mate, right? Because I'm trying to, and it's not using myself as a guinea pig, but maybe I am a little bit, right? Maybe I am a little bit because I am in pretty good health, and I know I have to change my eating habits, but that word habits, right? Habits. And these are habits that I've had my entire life. These are my coping mechanisms. And, it has been, and I'd say the past 30 years, maybe. Yeah, I would say close to 30 years now, coming up on 30 years. It has been a big kind of yo-yo in how I feel. Well, not how I feel in my body, because whether I'm slim or whether I'm heavier, emotionally, think I feel the same, maybe not the same, but not as bad. Like, there's neither one is better or worse, right? Right? The person who's dieting doesn't get to have ice cream, doesn't get to have cookies, right? But also the person that's having the ice cream and having the cookies doesn't get to wear the cute little outfits, right? But Cindy's 62 here. So see, these are the conversations that I'm having. So I have to draw it into how I feel, right? How I feel. And I know how my body feels when I eat certain things. So I love the dairy. I love the dairy, but I do recognize the dairy isn't good for me. So when we talk about New Year's resolutions, right? And it was a New Year's resolution. I said I wasn't going to make any New Year's resolutions. It just has already been in the workings for a couple of months. And because Christmas was coming up, and how we always say, oh, after the holidays, right? After the holidays. Well, now I have to buckle down, but I want to buckle down in a way that I could use some of those lessons that I put out there about the baby steps, right? You know, to me, if you take those good foods away from me, the potato chips, the ice cream, right, to me, in my upbringing and in my programming, it feels like punishment, right? Okay, so let me come in there. Happy New Year, everybody. This is going to be a great new year, but I just want to kind of talk about some of the things that I want to be kind of looking towards and moving towards in 2024, right? We're going to let 2023 slide into the background, because for me, 2023 was a year of information. It was a year of acceptance in things that I have no control over, right? It was 2023. It was getting to know myself a little bit better. 2024, I think it's going to be kind of like to reach some of these goals, but the message that's been coming to me is, right, I really need to take care of myself, and I have to use those lessons that I put out there about baby steps. And I'm trying to figure out, how can I be grand How can I be big, right? How can I be extra, right? Without losing the connection to what I'm doing, right? I want to show up every day. I want to show up every day, right? But I want to show up in a way that it's like this. I want to, right? It's going to be a part of my day. And, no matter what I'm doing, right? Because I'll be doing different things. Life happens, right? I know for the most part, we're sitting here in my living room, but things are constantly changing, right? Constantly changing. And it's not always going to be like this. Go to my main channel and look at my go to my main channel and look at my content. Ask any one of these amazing people. Hello, Kathy, dear. I love carbohydrates. Some pancakes with butter. And oh my goodness, would be great, but I'm still working to lose weight. Well, when you say pancakes, ooh, right? That's when I say, okay, well, maybe we'll wait until after the new year, until after I can have my pancakes and sausages, which if I had three favorite meals, right? My favorite meals would be the spaghetti and meatballs with lots of Parmesan cheese, right? It would be the turkey dinner, right? And it would be the pancakes and sausages. Oh my goodness, that sounds so good. Even pancakes with strawberries and bananas and whipping cream and syrup. Ooh, that sounds good. I've really been craving fruit lately. Fruit lately too, but so expensive. And I know I shouldn't be talking that way because I do spend a lot of money on junk, but that's the part of the things this next set of days off that I have here now, that right, I'm going to really apply myself already tonight. I came home from work. The store closed early today. I came home and I made uh beef and taters, which is like ground beef and white boiled potatoes sauteed and onions and well, I was supposed to have peas with that, but I had cream corn with that too. So right, it kind of ended up being like a shepherd's pie with well, I peeled some carrots too, and I had some carrot boiled carrots. It was, I don't know what it was, but it was pretty delicious. It was pretty delicious, and it was healthy because it had vegetables and stuff in it, right? So I wanted to make more homemade foods. I wanted to make the process of making food, right, a little bit of trouble. Like I'm making bread and dinner rolls, but like I said, when that oven is going to be ready to be turned on to be preheated, right? And I'm going to drop that dinner rolls and that bread in the oven. Oh, you guys, you'll be so jealous. Yeah, it was one thing that my mother taught me to do. She taught me how to cook bread really, really, really well. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to being able to maybe have some poached eggs tomorrow. That would be nice. Tomorrow is I'm just gonna do one load of laundry. I'm not even gonna leave the house tomorrow. I'm looking forward to being online all day, all day long, right? All day long, and enjoying my Keurig coffee maker. Tuesday, I'm going off with one of my sisters. We're going to exchange my boots. They were wrong size, so I need to get one size larger. So we're going to go up to the mall and exchange my boots. So I have my new pair of Keens that I absolutely love. I'm so excited for that. And then just a little bit of running around on Tuesday. Wednesday, right? Get ready for the work week and no plans. I want to make sure that I'm moving forward, and I really do need some time, right? I really do need some time not to be taken away. I hate to say this from my thoughts. Right? Even tonight after I made my dinner and stuff and I stood at the kitchen sink and I'm washing my dishes and I'm just in thought and I'm thinking, this is so amazing. And I was thinking of all the amazing things that we were going to talk about tonight that I haven't even touched on once yet, any of it, except to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. Coming to hang out with me. But you're right. Carbohydrates in my family has been a downfall. And I don't know if you guys know, but sugar has only been around for the norm since the 15th century, right? It was imported and it used to be something just for the rich, right? We have become, I don't know, it's almost like we are fed by our class in life, and I walk into the grocery store and I was thinking about this too, right? Like I want to shop more in that healthy food section. It's right beside the vegetable section, but it's such a huge section and they have everything in there, right? Except for the meat, and they have to go into the meat market to get what they need. But the fruits and vegetables are there and all those health products and right, all those organic foods, they're all there. They don't even have to go to the other parts of the store. Everything they need is right there. And I thought, think I might like to shop in that section. There's a reason that section is there, besides that it's very, very expensive, right? I don't know if you guys have those sections in your grocery stores, but here at the Safeways, like they're so obvious, and you look up the customers that are shopping in those sections and there's not very many, right? It's like going to Tiffany's and there's only one person in Tiffany's because that one person is the only one who could afford anything at Tiffany's, right? Oh, but a cup of coffee. And the thing is, I got a cup of coffee here. This is my Bubba mug. This is my mug that I took on my trip in September. Uh, oh my goodness. I thought I lost it. It's my favorite coffee mug for my trips. And I love it because it's small here and it actually fits when I'm driving, it fits in the cup holder. But Bubba is such a good product. Like I could get a nice hot cup of coffee. And I tell you, at the end of my shift, that coffee is still warm. It's such a great thermos. Now, everybody, all my customers and everybody I work with, every time a Bubba mug comes in, they always put it away for me to see if I want it, right? I'm getting spruced up and ready to start thinking about maybe finding a new place to live. And I thought I would put that. I know it's not on my goal list this year, but I'm finding a lot of times that I'm kind of swaying from the things. Like sometimes it gets a little bit heavy, and I find that I need to go off. Like it's like, you're studying, and then you go, oh my goodness, I can't take anything else. And then you go off and do dishes, right? So it's just a matter of switching out, and I need to have something else to switch out. And I thought, well, what about working towards finding a new place, something a little bit larger, something that makes you feel good because I never had. I don't know, you guys may get it, you might not get it, but I'll tell you how I feel about this, right? I never had children, right? Two of my sisters have children, grown children. And one of those children of my sisters actually has a child also. So one of my sisters is a grandmother, right? I never had kids. I never had children. And I thought maybe I would be sad about it. In this moment, I'm appreciative from where I am right now, not having children, because I don't believe with the lessons that I had, I would have been an over an over giving parent. Like I would have spoilt my child and made that child think it was the most amazing human being in the entire world, or some of those lessons that I had, I might have projected. I know I would have projected a lot of those lessons that I had. And, now it's a different story. Like, oh my goodness, right? Parent teacher meeting, right? I'm just going to get nothing but praise, and my child would get nothing but praise. But I couldn't promise that, the person that I was 10 years ago. And that is the truth. So now I have to think about it. I never had children, and I always thought, well, when I'm 80 years old, who's going to wipe my bum? Who's going to hold my hand when I go? And I think about these things, right? And not in a compulsory way, but just in a curious way. How am I going to feel? Right now, I don't have children. I have my sisters, but I feel that my own interests are taking me away from that. It's not like I relate to my sisters in large packages, large blocks like I used to. I'm not that codependent. I'm not that trauma bonder, right? And having the lessons that I do, like, it's a little bit embarrassing to even think that that would be a possibility. But I know I can be gullible, right? And I'm trying to move along without being hyper vigilant in my own safety, because if I am, right, there'll be walls all around me, just layers, layers, and layers of walls. And I want to experience life. I want to be able to come here on Sunday nights and, right, look at these amazing people that come and hang out with me on Sunday nights, and be grateful, right? And that's what it is, just to be grateful, because it's just the evidence to me that, that I could be who I am. I don't have to, right, put on those disguises. But I stumble into that, right? What's somebody gonna think of me? But when that happens, I just kind of remember my dad saying, if you don't have something nice to say, right, don't say anything at all. And when I say don't say nothing nice to you, or to me, it's not something unkind. It's not, right. They're conversations. They're facts. But if they're not somebody else's facts, then that's only a lecture. That's only trying to control, right? And I gotta keep remembering about myself that I only have control over myself. I don't have control over anybody else, right? Right? And sometimes, right, I can't be responsible for my thoughts. Can't be responsible for that programming, right? But I have to be responsible for my actions, right? I have to be responsible. I have to be responsible for that. And, so when I look back at the fact that I didn't have kids, I have to say I'm very, very grateful, because I don't feel old. And I live in a building full of mature, very mature people, right? And, it's not like I can't, what is it, recognize every single day when I take the elevator downstairs, or when people stop to small chat or say hello. And I can't walk by people and not say hello. And there's a lot of people with a lot of problems in this building. And, right, I do my best. I do my best. I do pretty good. I have to say, right, I think I'm harder on myself than I think anybody else is. Right? So I was thinking for 2024 that maybe I would find a place that could bring back some of that youthfulness that's in me. Right? Did you guys notice for about just over a week now, I haven't had my pink bangs? A couple of people have noticed, right? But I thought I would change that up, because when you change yourself up, well, number one is change, and change promotes, um, moving and whether, right, what direction it go. Well, that's all in the play. It's in that play, And I'm thinking of myself, when I was a teenager and I was using the food coloring my hair, and I'd put diaper pins through my ears with great big chains around my chin, and I join it to my I joined and my mother said she would just laugh at me when I would leave the house, and I would have big old cat eyes and mascara, and you know and I think that was to let people know, like, hey, right, before you do something mean, before you say something mean, you can tell I've got a little bit of personality, right? I don't know how I'm going to react. I didn't know. And that's the truth. It would be a surprise. It would be a surprise to me. Some things would just slide by me. I don't even give it the time of day. I'm somebody who worries about the big things, not the little things. But there are parts of me sometimes that think some of these little things are big things, right? And sometimes I think some of these big things are little things. So there's a little bit of miscommunication there, right? Okay. So to pull it back, I don't feel my age. And I would like to have my surroundings, right, in the lessons. And I wouldn't be a good student if I didn't apply those lessons to my life. So this year I'm thinking, right, I was thinking maybe of a main floor of a house would be nice. What do you guys think of that? Maybe I could find a place with a porch. Wouldn't that be amazing? Or maybe with something with a little backyard where I could put a fire pit out in the backyard and sit out there at night and just stare into the flames. My favorite thing in the whole world. I love staring into flames, right? It's ancient. It's ancient, right? And so that's my connectivity to that ancientness, right? That lineage, my ancestors, all those people who came from before me, my grandfather who moved us from Mendlesham, England, to right, well, he didn't get us to Manitoba. I'm from Manitoba right now, but I was born in Vancouver. But my grandfather, he was disowned by his family. That's strange. I haven't talked about this one for I'm not sure if I ever talked about this one. My grandfather, he was disowned by his family because my father wanted to come to Canada. He wanted an adventure. And so they gave him what you call a living inheritance and said, see you on the beach, right? Not really. Just right. That's the end of it. We never want to see you again. My dad my grandfather hopped a ship. This is my grandfather on my mother's side hopped on a ship and he came to the East Coast and he slowly moved to Toronto where he met my grandmother and then he carried on traveling all the way to the West Coast and my grandfather owned the entire Delta. I don't know if anybody's familiar with British Columbia, but the Delta is now its own city. My grandfather owned all of it. Um, I don't know what happened. I know when he sold some parcels to Boeing and he sold it to Dairyland. But my grandfather, when he passed away, in those days, the boys got the money and the girls got a penance and the wife got what do you call that, money to live on for the rest of their life comfortably. So I think my mother, she got a decent chunk. If you look at it, I would be happy with $20,000. That's what my mother got when my father passed away. That's all that my mother got. But there was a time my grandfather owned the entire Delta, and the Delta now is its own city. It's part of Vancouver almost now, right? So I don't know why I was going into that. Oh, it was like giving that thankfulness and that gratefulness to the ones that come before us, right? And it's through our choices, and we make that change all the time, right? And those come from our choices. That came from a choice of my grandfather on my mother's side, right? And I wouldn't be here right now if my grandfather hadn't decided to do that. And maybe in the end, it would have happened anyway, right? But it still took that bravery to do something that scary, right? To do that scary. He was only one of millions of people, right, that were coming to North America at that time. I think it was like the 1880s and the 1890s, right? On my father's side, it was a different story. They were, I think, train robbers, and I think there were some voyageurs on my grandmother's side, on my mother's side, but I don't know too much about my father's side. That I know my grandfather had some Jewish nationality in him on my dad's side. I know that my grandmother on my mother's side had a little bit of indigenous in her. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it, right? And that's important for us to keep that lineage. And now in this digital age, right? It's not like 3,000 years ago and only the royalty and only the royal households and the higher ups were able to read and write and to document, right? Now anybody can. I'm doing it right now, right? In my live show tonight. Happy New Year. Okay. Look at all the Happy New Year's. Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, but going back because I'm swaying off because that's my week, right? I'm finishing my week today, and I have all kinds of topics that I can talk about, all kinds of things, little things that are going on. But in that moment of right hanging out with you guys, sometimes it's just a matter of just letting it all go and just seeing what's going on with just everybody, and sometimes just in life in general, right? Okay, so coming down into the comments, people sometimes married and start families very young. Where I'm from, you can be a great grandparent as young as 54. Oh my goodness. Yeah, in my family, on my dad's side, everybody has passed away pretty young. I'm pretty grateful right now. All there's four of us sisters. We're all still kicking. We're all at least my youngest sister, I think, is 50 years old right now. Right? We're all kicking, right? To different degrees. I'm grateful for my good health, and I am grateful for the examples in my life to keep my health that way, right? And I could do a little bit better by myself, 100%. And it's the plan, right? But we always have grand plans. I had a plan to have some more of those banana drinks that I had on Christmas Eve. I have so much of that alcohol there. But I said, oh my goodness, because I said I was cutting back on the cream and I got the coffee mate. I don't have any cream to make that drink. So I wasn't able to have that drink. I could have done like maybe a tequila with orange juice, but that's what wasn't what I was craving, right? And I says, "Oh, not a big deal." Then I thought, you guys, that it would be really nice if I could just change the setup today because my fireplace is right here and I have my Christmas tree here, that maybe I could turn my chair around and I have this tray that I could put my laptop on, and I could have had a different view for you tonight with me, like, Santa Claus in front of my fireplace. And you can have a different perspective because you always get the same look when I'm sitting here because this is my desk, right? This is where I sit when I'm at home. I have a brand new chair. It's covered in a quilt bag right now, right? I don't want it to get ruined. I got such a great score and I'm saving it for that new residence that I have, right? I just want to keep it as nice as I can, and I have to collect things for my right. my new place of residence, knowing that while I have this job, I should take that opportunity to keep my eye open for those really nice pieces, right? So that's what I've been trying to do. I got one more piece of furniture coming next week. It's a little roller desk. I think it's a telephone table is what they have, but it has a thing like a cookie sheet that pulls out from it, so it extends out, and it has wheels on the bottom. It also has a shelf and a little drawer. I think it has a drawer. Yeah, yeah. No, it doesn't have a. Does it have a drawer? No, it doesn't have a drawer. It just has the slider. But I thought it would be a good addition for my desk because, right, this is my headquarters. This is flight command. You know what I mean? And I need more, right? I like being able to know where all my stuff is. Nothing drives me crazy when my packing tape isn't where it's supposed to be. Everything in my house is left to a certain place, and I'm just going to check just to make sure that isn't Nancy. I think Nancy. Oh, yeah, it was here. Let's see what Nancy's saying here. At the Space Needle, getting ready for tonight's event. 500 drones will perform soon. Seattle Space Needle. Isn't that amazing? I've been there. I went to Seattle when I was, I think, 13 or 14 years old to see Tutankhamun. I loved Egypt. I wanted to be an archaeologist my entire life. It didn't work out that way, but I still love history. And yeah, I went to Seattle. I went to the top of the Space Needle too. Seattle is a very, very beautiful city. It's very much like the city that I was born in, Vancouver. It's very close to, I think it's only like 6 hours away or something. It's not too far away. Thank you for showing us that, Nancy. Yeah, so she's down at the Space Needle waiting for the 500 drones to put on a show. Has anybody here seen the drone shows? I've seen them. They're pretty amazing. You can Google on YouTube and you can watch some of the videos from those. Yeah, because they're really quite amazing, those drone shows. And what was the biggest drone show? Was, oh, what was that gentleman's name? He was a big YouTuber, and he had a drone that was super big, like almost as big as a car, and he dressed up like a Santa Claus. Do you guys remember that one? And he held on to it, and the drone took him across the landscape. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. Um, my family is the opposite. My father's parents were both born at the end of the 1800s, while Victoria was still on the throne. Um, wow, yeah. I don't think that Victoria. I think it was a different Victoria. Andrew, you can course correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that on my mother's side, there was a lady in waiting in my family to Queen Victoria, but not the Queen Victoria that you're talking about, another Queen Victoria. So I don't know. You can see if maybe there was two Queen Victorias, because I think this was even earlier than what you're talking about. Okay, Cindy, would your choice be to live alone or to have a housemate? I'm at the point I don't want to live alone anymore. That depends on the person. I'm a unique Andrew. Right? You're unique. How do we find people that fit those grooves perfectly? I think it would probably be impossible, right? When I was married, I loved my husband so much. But there were things that, right, that would always, to me, be a little bit irritating, and things about me that to my husband were a little bit irritating, right? Right? And it's a matter of finding that balance and finding that acceptance of faults in each other, right? Understanding that we are different. So you have to have a strong set of boundaries, Andrew, right? You have to. And I know you're this person, Andrew, that you'd be able to say, well, this is what I'm uncomfortable with. This is what I'm comfortable with. And this is what possibly could be negotiable, right? In this relationship. It has to be a lot of give and take, right? It has to be a lot of give and take, but you have to decide for yourself how much you're willing to give and how much you're willing, right, to take. And yeah, I have boundaries. I think I have strong boundaries. I've had to stand up to some things that I would prefer not to have to do, but I did them anyway because I had to. But I procrastinated on them, right? They probably took twice as long, three times as long as what they should have taken. But sometimes when you care about people, sometimes when you love what you're doing, sometimes when you love the dairy, right? That we have to be that self parent and we have to decide, right? How much can you take, right? And what's not acceptable? What's not acceptable? For me, I think either or. I have done roommates. I have had good roommates and I've had bad roommates, right? And it's just a matter of, well, how much how much can you be yourself? How much can you feel comfortable? That's the thing. You have to feel comfortable where you are, Andrew, right? Right? If you got your books in nice cases and your roommate is scurrying through all your books and, right, leaving them all over the place and spilling his coffee all over the beautiful pages of your books, how long are you going to put up with that, right? So I always say have those conversations immediately. If you can't have those conversations while building that contract, letting each other know where the boundaries are, making sure you're feeling each other to make sure you can adjust to each other's needs. Because a lot of these boundaries, most of these boundaries, right? We're empaths, we're highly sensitives. Our boundaries are crossed all the time. It's hard to keep those boundaries stiff, but we do it, right? So that's what you got to do is you just got to make sure that you're comfortable. We're talking about this a little bit on what's my good cheer, about making sure that we're comfortable, right? Taking into consideration that we don't necessarily know what those other parts of us are comfortable or not comfortable because we're not paying attention sometimes, right? But if that agitation is there and you're attributing that agitation to, somebody who flipped the finger out at you rather than that, right? That person in the hallway every time you leave for work that's giving you the side eye, right? Or that nasty comment or, right, causing trouble. Those are in our choices. So for in the moment, I am good. I'm good either way. I'm good. Like I said, I'm grateful now that I didn't have children. So I'm not so worried about not having anybody to hold my hand when I pass away or wipe my bum if I ever have to wear diapers or whatever, if I have to, right? That was a big fear of my father's, right? When we moved to Winnipeg, it was because some of those doctors and scientists in the research of what my dad's conditions were here in Manitoba, and to get access to that, he moved his whole family here, right? Okay, I just lost what I was going to say about that, about my dad moving us to. Oh, I lost it. It was a good it was a good story. Well, totally lost it. It was meant to be lost, or it'll come back to me after my sip of coffee. In the meantime, I'm going to read my comment. Yeah, I would be interested, Andrew. I would like you to probably be with somebody, maybe, somebody you work with who works opposite shifts of you, right? Maybe they work the night shift and you work the day shift. I don't know. Different days that you work, so that you can still have that sense of freedom and that sense of, um, right, being the king of your own castle. That's the only thing that is difficult when you roommate with somebody, right? Because you're sharing that kingdom, right? And I don't know, Andrew, if you're anything like me. I Yeah, I don't know at this stage, right? Like I said, I like to know where my packing tape is. I get upset if I go to get my packing tape and it's not in the spot that it's supposed to be, right? There Right. I am eclectic. Yes. I have a lot of stuff. Yes. But I'm supposed to know where everything is. And if I don't know where it is, right, means I have too much stuff. Get those donation bags ready. No, maybe in the next couple of days that I have off, that I'll maybe get some donation. I got one started, but maybe I can fill the bag up and take it to work next week. Okay. Um, Oh, it's easy to get out of leases, Andrew, as long as you give them a couple of months' notice. Landlords will usually let you out of your lease. Yeah, wouldn't it be awesome with the drones, though? We'll see. I bet you Nancy, she'll send us pictures, I'm sure. Oh, well, maybe that's what it was. I do have a Middle Eastern, it's not Middle Eastern, it's a Eastern European eye condition. My optometrist told me that it was very specific to a certain region in Europe, that these eye condition that I have is common, right? That's all I thought about it. I says, oh, I got some Russian in me. I know my dad was with the during the Cold War too. My father was part of the Russian Canadian Friendship Association. Used to go to meetings and stuff, right? He had a piece of the Berlin Wall. I had a piece of the Berlin Wall. It was quite common. I know they when they took the wall down, they put them in little boxes, and it was a big seller. It was like buying those heads that grow hair, or those pet rocks. That's what the pieces of the Berlin Wall. I wish I still had it. I thought that was a really unique souvenir, a unique time in this world's history, eh? In our movement forward, oh my goodness, can have a country split totally in half, right? Totally in half, run by two different governing ideas. And it kind of worked, didn't it? Right up until it didn't work. And when it didn't work in the end, it was kind of an amazing kind of, I'm trying to think, it was a kind of amazing toppling up the wall. It was amazing toppling. And I remember that. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I'd like an arrangement. I'm just saying, I'd like an arrangement with separate bedrooms and bathrooms. Some of the student oriented apartments here, maybe 6 sleeping rooms with bathrooms and a common area. I'd be happy with just one other person. Yeah, for me, I think it would have to be a relationship in order for me to be able to do roommates. It would, right? And that relationship, right? It's not expected. If it happened, it happened, right? But I think I'm on my own. If I was going to meet up with somebody, it would have happened. It would have happened by now, I think. But I know there were lots of things that I didn't think would happen that happened in my life. So like I said, I am open to the idea of roommates only out of the necessity that if I couldn't afford it. But you know, I don't know, right? I'm a little scared to leave myself in that situation like I did a few years ago. It's a scary feeling, right? Knowing the possibility that you might not have a roof over your head. And I think, it's a little bit of a lesson in responsibility for me. And I have that responsibility to make sure that that income is always flowing. Right. But like I said, as I move forward, things are going to change and things are going to improve in my situation. So I really want to start looking at, um, at moving, right? Maybe finding a little apartment in a house or something with a balcony or a backyard. I'm just checking to see if Nancy sent me more pictures. She did. Here she goes. Happy New Year. Getting ready to film tonight's event. We'll have 500 drone show here. Well, it said, did she? Well, she only sent me one picture. It said she sent me five, but only, only one picture. Ooh, only one picture. Just the angle of the lighting, right? Yeah, pretty amazing. Toronto has one. I don't know. Lots of cities have Space Needles, don't they? I know the one in Winnipeg. The needle is on top of a hotel, and it's way up, and it had a revolving restaurant, so you could sit and have your dinner in a fancy restaurant and just watch the city go by, right? Because it would just turn in a circle. There was one of those. Oh, I think I went with my friends when I graduated high school. We went with our friends and we went to one of those fancy restaurants up in one of those needles too in Vancouver. It was on top of the Woodward building. I'm not sure if the Woodward building is still there. I should do some Googling on that. They used to make the most beautiful, beautiful Christmas windows, so huge. The windows were big as a one level house, and those they'd have mechanical Santas and train sets and deer, and they were just absolutely amazing. But that whole area that building is there. It's a huge building. It's in a really bad neighborhood now. The neighborhood is really fallen apart very badly, right? 2024, optimistic it's going to be amazing. And I do believe that for some it will be absolutely amazing. I think for others it will also be amazing, but it will also be a struggle. It might be heartbreaking. There might be some grief in that span, but hopefully you can find those moments to smile, right? While all of that is going on, to keep your emotional well being as uplifted as we possibly can, right? Just thinking how scary it was. Came within 2 days of becoming homeless. It was very scary. And I'm putting myself in my shoes in those few months. It was so scary. But also at the same time, I was still taking in the lessons. I was still looking for work. I was still trying to repair broken relationships. I was still in the pursuit and the goals of some of those dreams that I had, right? And I was practicing, right? I was practicing my craft, and I kept the best I could that good cheer throughout that entire process. I do believe it helped me out greatly. I think, a lot of things fell into my life properly, because of the way I handled all of that, right? So some things are meant to happen no matter what you do. I think that would have happened because it was an experience I was meant to have, right? So that way I could recognize, like, look it, don't drop the ball, Cindy, because this is what's going to happen if you drop the ball. Right? So I'm going to make sure that if I make this decision to move, that everything is just lovely, from the neighborhood to the apartment or house that I move into. If I should take a roommate, to make sure that those roommates are going to be able to have their boundaries met by me, that I'm able to abide by the things that make them uncomfortable, and to give them that little bit of rope so they can feel like they're the king in that castle themselves too, right? Things have changed for me. So it's been a long time since I had roommates. So I have no idea, right? It might be a different story right now. Why? Because I'm a different story now, right? So we'll know when we know. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay, let's come down into the comments here. Uh, I saw a YouTube documentary about John Lennon's apartment. My dream home would be an apartment in the Dakota there in Manhattan. If it had an elevator, Andrew, but how would you like that? That was an old building, right? Oh, no, it did have an elevator, because I remember a couple of interviews of people who met him in the elevator going up. So yeah, that building would be really nice, right? That really had that era of I think 1940s, 1950s, right? Or maybe it was even older. Maybe it was just the feel that it took off. It just reminded me of the movies from the 1940s and the 1950s, the old black and white movies and stuff. I love those buildings too, Andrew. I really do love those buildings. But I like Mother Nature, right? So I think for me, priority is to maybe have a tree outside my window if I'm in an apartment, or have a tree backyard, or something facing out onto a golf course, or a nice landscape, or right, nice river or lake breeze coming in. Or better yet, how about my little farmhouse in the middle of a farm field? Not my farm field, somebody else's farm field, but a house that they're not using, but it's all surrounded by trees, because they just take their plows and their tractors and they crop all around that house, and the trees are so tall it's like a forest. And then I get that house, and then what I would do is, it's like a donut, right? The house is in the center, maybe a little yard, and then all the trees that haven't been cut down or used around the house. And I would make a trail, and I would use that red mulch, and I would make a trail in there, so that every morning, right? Right? I could go for a walk in my own forest and feel safe, because how many bears are out in the farm fields, right? I'm sure there's some, but I think for the most part it would be deer, right? The bears usually stay in the forests, but you never know. It's just the kind of property. Do I have a picture? If you guys could see this on my computer, because I get the real estate news, right? Let me have a sip of my coffee. I'm going to put this coffee cup over here. I get the real estate news, and then I cut out the little properties that I find interesting. And I'm just going to see if I can find one. Well, here's one here, but it doesn't have as many. It doesn't have as many farm fields around it. I would like not so much forest. See, maybe this much forest all the way around the house, right? And then big farm fields all the way around. And then I would get Elon Musk, Starlink, and have my internet put through his 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 creation, knowing that if something ever happens to the world, at least I'm good to go. At least I'll have internet. And it's really good because his internet is good anywheres. He's got I don't think it's a trial anymore. I think you can do it anywheres now, but the trial started in Canada for rural towns and rural farms and stuff so that they could have internet and stuff. So yeah, to be able to have fast internet, even if the digital age goes down, to be able to have a connection with people who kind of, I don't know, think on the same lengths as I do, right? That I relate to a little bit in some of my ideas, right? Never get me getting on a spaceship and going out to outer space. That isn't my thing. I'm a human. I'm staying right here. I'm grounded to earth, right? I am absolutely in love with life, right? Am I in love with my life? Well, that's my choices, right? At any moment, that's my choices. And so I move forward like that. And it just, oh, it helps me out so much. Right? I enjoy my day to days, right? But you throw a wrench in that, I don't know. Each wrench, each trigger, right? Each slip up, each mistake, each every failure is a moment that I can actually take a moment and reflect on that moment, right? Because it's important for me. Oh, I think that's Nancy. Oh, Nancy again. Okay, let's see what Nancy's got. She's now got fireworks. Nancy has now got fireworks going on in Seattle. I think she sent two pictures. Oh my goodness, there's one, right? Downtown. What's going on? Is that a building exploding? Or is that actual fireworks? That looks like I don't know what that looks like. Nancy, let us know. Let us know what that is. Wow, look at that. Yeah, it's hard for me to see. Yeah, it must be fireworks. They're setting off fireworks. I actually thought it was this building in the front that was on fire, but you can see it's further back, so it's just probably fireworks. Yeah, our girl Nancy. Cindy and everyone, what with the bronchitis, I'm going to sign out a little early. Have a great evening and a happy new year. Blessings and peace. Oh, Andrew, happy new year. And you know what? I, you did it to me again. Bronchitis and you're showing up. Go to bed. Have some lemon juice and some honey. A nice cup of tea, Andrew. Right? And that's another thing about having roommates, Andrew, right? When you're not feeling good, you could send somebody to make that cup of tea for you, right? Tuck you into bed, make you feel a little bit better. But, right? It is what it is. We're self parenting, and I know, right? You take good care of yourself. Have a great night. Have a great night, Andrew. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I absolutely, I absolutely love Andrew, right? And he never said anything about bronchitis. Am I missing something? Did he say anything to you guys about the bronchitis? He never said anything to me. And if he did say something, I missed it. I missed that ball totally. Oh my goodness. I hate that, the people that I care about are not feeling good, right? I know I overdid it at Christmas. I ate too much sugar. way too much sugar, and I got a good, or maybe too much dairy too. And it did a job. But the thing is, right, it isn't something that's going to, right, I'm going to get over it in a couple of days. But bronchitis, that's a tough one. You didn't know, Owen, and you're here every week too. So, and I know Owen pays attention. Ah, grr, Andrew, you're a sweetheart. Thank you for always showing up, Andrew. Thank you for always being there. And not grumbling about your own discomforts. But that's what this live show is for, right? Is when we're not feeling good. And how many times have one of us has not felt good, and you're just saying, oh, I'm just, remember Sharon when she was out of it and she would just lay in bed, she'd just say, oh, I'm here, Cindy, I'm just letting you know I'm here. Nancy too, right? She says, I'm not feeling good, Cindy, but I'm just letting you know I'm here. You don't have to participate. You don't even have to be here when you're not feeling good. Oh my goodness, you guys, especially with all the lessons this week. Take care of yourself, right? None of us are any good to anybody, right? If we're not taking care of yourself. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I don't like hearing that the people I care about are not feeling well, but at the same time, I do not want to be left out in that opportunity to possibly, right, make somebody that I care about feel a little bit better by kicking them out of the live and sending them off to bed, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no interest. I can do planes. I've ridden on many planes, big planes and small planes, and you know, I'm not super uncomfortable. I actually even enjoy the views, and I actually go deep and I think about innovation and how far we've come in the world. It is an interesting experience, but it's not something that I want to do regularly, right? When I go on trips, you guys know when I go on trips, I'm not interested in flying somewheres, right? I'm not interested on laying on the beach drinking pina coladas or swimming in hotel swimming pools. Well, if there was no beach, yes, of course I'm going to be down at the swimming pool for the experience, right? For the experience. But yeah, I'm just not that person. I would much rather go for a drive, or I'd much rather go for a walk, or I'd much rather sit and, right, watch documentaries or read a good book. I finished the book that I was reading. It was really really good book, all about morals. It was all about etiquette. It was a really really good book. And it was just a little short book. It took me, well, I spent like 20 minutes, for a few days it took me to read it. But I thought, oh my goodness, if the kids, I wonder if those kind of books were in my school system when I was growing up, that those books that taught us about bravery and courage and etiquette, manners, right? All those good values, because they are good values. Values that if you could get lots of people to follow in those values, that you can build community, right? It's kind of like the rules for the community, but those rules are just actually values. It's not saying you can't be the person that you are, but you just sometimes cannot fully express if it makes the majority uncomfortable. I always move with the majority. I always do, right? And maybe that's from the programming, maybe that's a little bit of playing it safe, but I am, right? I am full of stubbornness too in those things that I truly do believe in. It'd be just as hard to budge me from some of those some of those ideas, and they do conflict sometimes. And again, that's when we have to make the choices, right? We make the choices, and we have to stick with that, unless the other side is part of you too. And then a matter of that is just like what I do. If I get bored doing that, then okay, I'll go wash dishes, or I'll plan my vacation for next year, or I'll look at my real estate news, and I'll look for potential new homes and opportunities to move myself, right, into a better living situation, right? Surround myself with those things that I love, with those people, right, that will fit me a little bit better than the people that are surrounding me now, right? Not that they're bad people, right? They're not bad people, not in the very least. But, people with problems and people who are hurt, and sometimes, right? Hurt people. Hello, Nancy. We got your pictures. We got your pictures. Were those fireworks behind the building? I actually thought that building was on fire for a second, that front building. But just the patterning of the lighting, I'm assuming that they were fireworks that we were looking at. Okay, it's crazy out here. Millions are out tonight. Wow. Nancy, that's amazing. You sound amazing. You sound like you feel amazing. How do you feel tonight, Nancy? Have you got any of your dolls with you? You got any of your kids with you tonight? You can see security everywhere. Cops are at the tops of buildings, roofs, helicopters are flying overhead, Navy boats are out in the water. You can see security even on the water. I've never seen that. Wow, that's crazy, Nancy. Right? I'd much rather have you safe. I hope you're at a safe distance. That makes me nervous. There's that kind of security because sometimes, right, we're not always privy to all the information that's going on in the world. But yeah, that sounds like an awful lot of security to me. Happy New Year, Nancy. Happy New Year. They were lights. Oh, perfect. I'm so glad. I hope you're having fun, Nancy. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing time tonight, an amazing blast. Right? New Year's Eve. And can you imagine? It's winter time. There could be snow on the ground, and Nancy is able to get out and about. That's amazing in itself, right? Thank you so much for keeping us updated with the pictures and stuff. Nancy, when are the drones going up in the air at midnight? I'll be long asleep come midnight. I'll be in bed for sure tonight. My weekend is done. I put everything into my weekends. I give every last bit of drop that I have, right? That's right. That's all I got left. You can have it all. Just don't bother me on my days off. Leave me alone. Let me enjoy my days off. I work hard. The days that I have to work, I work hard, right? But I'd like to enjoy my days off just as hard. Oh, you will. Oh, you'll stay up a little bit later, Owen. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while. Like I said, I was gonna have a couple of drinks tonight, right? Because I did have all that alcohol still left, but I didn't have. Oh, my bread, you guys! I gotta turn the oven on. Gotta turn the oven on, and let me show you guys what I got going on. Oh my goodness! Gonna turn my. I'd make Andrew a pan. Look at this, you guys. They're going to be going in the oven. Does that look yummy? Does that look yummy? Wow, it does. That was a good thing that I remembered that. Yeah, it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes for my oven to preheat. Then I'll put those in the oven, and then I'll have bread for my days off. And like I said, maybe tomorrow I'll make some poached eggs on toast. Doesn't that sound good for New Year's Day breakfast? I'm not planning on leaving the house. Maybe I might get into the mood to maybe go for a walk. I'd like to see what the weather is like. If it's a nice sunny day, right? Maybe I'll go for a walk. I don't know. I'll let the mood hit me. I did my laundry yesterday. I did all my laundry yesterday so I could leave this weekend open just to I'm trying to practice being, it's not kind to myself, but thoughtful. It was the word we had this week on Chatters Live, is this word thoughtful. And I'm trying to be thoughtful for myself, but still moving forward, right? I'm not being Right. What I'm saying is I'm not taking the whip out on myself because I have to recognize when I beat myself up. My steering wheel is the guilt and shame. And I know when those feelings come into me that I actually am taking on blame is usually what it is I'm taking on blame for the a lot of things I think that I shouldn't be taking on, right? And I think I beat myself up, right? I think I beat myself up. So I'm trying to be kind to myself. I'm trying to be tolerant to myself, but I always feel that I get lots of time for me, right? I take that time to be comfortable, right? And when I'm practicing my craft, that's my movement. I enjoy doing that. Maybe that's the problem. I'm not looking at that as work, whereas somebody else would consider that work or something they have to do in order to accomplish. I actually enjoy it. Like if you had a few offers and what that was one of the offers to do for a few hours, right? I'd probably be very content to do that one, right? Unless you had pancakes and sausages. Then I might have to choose the pancakes and sausages because I do love pancakes and sausages. Yeah, lots of syrup. Okay. The drones will go up soon. No babies tonight with me. Too much going on. Wow, Nancy, send us pictures, or maybe can you send us a little bit of a video? Can you send us a little bit of video, and then I could just play it and everybody can see it? That might be good. I don't know if that's too much to ask, but if we're still here and they show the drones going up, because I think that would be pretty interesting. But I'm sure that in a couple hours that footage will be online. Oh, Nancy sent some more pictures. Um. Oh, the lights. Oh, I see the drones. The drones are actually doing the filming. Okay, I get it. I get it, Nancy. I get it, Nancy. There's Nancy, you guys. There's our Nancy. There's our amazing Nancy. She's always wearing headbands. I used to wear headbands all the time. All the time. Yeah. Yeah, she looks good in the headbands. Beautiful tree, beautiful pictures, Nancy. Oh my goodness. Look at our Nancy, you guys. Look at our Nancy. Right? This is our Nancy. Oh, Andrew would have liked to have seen this. I'm going to send these pictures to Andrew. Is that okay, Nancy, that I send these pictures to Andrew? Oh, or you probably sent him pictures anyway, right? You probably sent Andrew pictures anyway because I know you're friends with Andrew too. Let's see what else do we got. Oh, yeah, there's our Nancy. Well, gotta get it the glare. There we go. There's our Nancy. Oh yeah, you look like you're enjoying. You look like you're enjoying. So you sent Andrew the pictures. Those are great pictures. I love them. I love them all, Nancy. Yeah, you got a nice smile. Doesn't Nancy have a nice smile? Oh, if I could get there we go. She's got like a Mona Lisa smile. Isn't that like the perfect Mona Lisa smile on Nancy? Yeah, that's our Nancy. Don't tick her off though. Yeah, she'll beat you with her chair. 100%. Oh, we love you, Nancy. Happy New Year, Nancy. Nancy messaged me this afternoon. I sent her a little parcel, right, for the holidays, but I wasn't able to send it until payday. So I knew it wasn't going to get to her for Christmas. So she's been tracking her parcel. And I feel bad, right? Because then I'm thinking, oh, it's just a little parcel, and like she's getting all wired. She's like checking what city it's coming. She goes, Cindy, it's in Chicago. It's in customs at Chicago. She sends me an email, right? And then she sends me another one. She goes, oh my goodness, it's taking forever. She says, I'm going crazy. I need my box, right? And then I'm thinking, oh my goodness, right? I hope she's not disappointed. I'm trying to remember all the things that I put into her box. I know I put love in there, right? But what if she thinks there's like a Fabergé egg? $1 million. So I don't want her to be disappointed because it was just out of that love that I have for Nancy. But she was so excited about having the parcel tracked. Take care, everybody. Yeah, that's our Nancy. Amazing. Nancy's been with me on my adventure videos since the very beginning. She was the actual person that actually got me to come a little bit forward when I was doing my videos, right? To bring the courage to come onto the camera and to actually do my filming in a first person through my experience. So just not show the tour of the abandoned house like most urban explorers did. You start in a house and you just tour the abandoned house. That I actually made it in an experience with Mother Nature where I would walk through the farm fields. And I did that for Nancy because I knew Nancy had handicaps, right? So I did that because I came into the realization that there are lots of people out there who don't get to have these experiences, right? These amazing experiences that I had of walking through farm fields and walking through these abandoned. Nancy would never be able to, in that chair she's in, she'd never be able to get into an abandoned house. Oh my goodness, can you imagine 100 years from now finding Nancy as she was, right, wheels of her chair poking through a upstairs floor, and then to get up there and you find Nancy, right? So these are experiences that Nancy can't literally have, but she could have very vicariously. And she was the one that encouraged me. And she didn't come right out and do it, but she talked about herself and she talked about her adventures as a teenager. And and I appreciated that she couldn't do any of that anymore. Right? She was in a change. She couldn't hop trains. She used to hop trains, our Nancy. She was a train hopper, like in the movies, right? And she can't do that anymore because she's in the train and all those amazing experiences that she had, right? And so who am I to grumble when I can't get out on the road? But I better darn well when I get out on the road share that reward, because that's a reward, me being able to get out on the road. Something I'm very grateful for my back road explorers, that I make sure that I get those, that I work that into my goal setting, and that it's part of my life every single year, even if it's just once a year. I would love for it to be 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year, right? 365 days out of the year. I would love I would love that. But I'm not willing to sacrifice not having any of it, right? I understand. I'm practicing my craft. I'm in the lessons and stuff, and you really can't do that when you're out in the farm field, when you're out with no Skylink, right? No Elon Musk internet, right? I get it. But again, just like in understanding that my circumstances are going to change and I'm going to get a new apartment or a new house, right? That I understand also that I am going to get back on the back roads, right? And I make a habit at the very least to at least get that adventure kind of worked in to the calendar so that no matter what, right? Even if I fail myself, no matter what, right? I'm taking care of myself. I'm being thoughtful towards myself that way. I'm trying to soften. I'm trying not to be so tough. But at the same time, right? When you love what you're doing, it doesn't seem like tough. It doesn't seem like work. It doesn't seem like a grind, right? Just seems like an adventure. Okay, you guys. Happy New Year, everybody, right? We're going to call it quits. I'm going to go put my bread in the oven, get into my pajamas. I'm already into my pajama top, but I still have my pants and stuff on right now. But I'm going to put in my pajamas. I'm going to see what everybody's been up to while I was at work today. See if I can get a couple of lessons in and if I can stay up long enough, right? Maybe I'll have a homemade dinner roll when it comes out of the oven, only because I know, right? There's nothing like homemade fresh bread. Okay, you guys, Happy New Year. See you in 2024, right? Take care of yourself. At the very least, can we try to be thoughtful towards ourselves tomorrow, right? Love on yourself a little bit, right? Soften up on those that are around you, right? I'm trying. If I could try, right? That's all that it's expected is that we try, right? We're not getting out that whip, right? Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. We'll see you. Here we go.